Before we ask the question of what Bertha Champagne may have known that got her killed, let's take a look at who she worked for. She worked for Marvin P. Bush, the President George W. Bush's younger brother. He was a principal in the company called Securicom. And that company provided security for the World Trade Center, United Airlines, and Dulles International Airport. All were involved in the events of September 11th. So Marvin K. Bush was a director at Securicom. If you don't know about this, just take a look at this little clip here.
Who was a director in the company that provided electronic security for the World Trade Center and Washington's Dulles Airport, both involved in September 11th? None other than the president's younger brother. From 1996 to 2000, Securicom installed what was referred to as a new security system at the World Trade Center. Wirt D. Walker III, a cousin of the Bush brothers, was CEO of Securicom from 1999 until 2002. Interestingly, these facts have not been made public. Was it only a security system that was added during those years, or was it also the wiring for a long-awaited plan? Scott Forbes, an IT specialist in a firm that had leased space in the South Tower since its erection, reported an unprecedented power down in his building for almost the whole weekend prior to 9/11.
We were notified 3 weeks in advance of the power down by the Port Authority. That was relatively short notice to plan to shut down all of our banking systems. It was a big deal. It was unprecedented. We had a data center on the 97th floor. So our originating servers were all there. During that weekend, the power down meant that there was no security. The doors were all open, basically.
That was a clip from the documentary 9/11 Mysteries, which you can watch for free on Google Video. And if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend that you go watch that. This clip was uploaded to YouTube courtesy of Halifaxion. And now we know who Bertha Champagne worked for. Marvin Bush. She was his maid, servant, or babysitter, whichever term you prefer. But here's a story from that I'll post a link to over here. This is from 2003. At around 9 p.m. on September 29th, 2003, Fairfax County, Virginia police responded to a 911 call describing an accident. However, they soon discovered they were not dealing with a routine emergency, but the mysterious death of an employee of the 47-year-old brother of President George W. Bush, venture capitalist Marvin Bush. 62-year-old Bertha Champagne, described as a longtime babysitter for Marvin and Margaret Bush's two children, son Walker 13 and daughter Marshall 17, was found crushed to death by her own vehicle in the driveway in front of the Bush family home in the Alexandria section of Fairfax County. Champagne reportedly lived at the Bush family home. Now remember that fact for a second. It also goes on to say Champagne had left the residence to retrieve something from her car, which police say had somehow been left in gear. According to the police report, the car rolled forward and pinned the woman between it and a small building next to the driveway. Now, no explanations have been offered as to why the vehicle did not move until Champagne was in a position to be crushed. This article's right here. I'll put a link over here. Check it out. I'm just reading bits and pieces of it. More mystifying is the fact that the Washington Post waited almost an entire week to publish this story about the babysitter's death. The incident occurred on September 29th, but the Post did not report it until October 5th, and they buried it on page 3 of the Metro section. Nevertheless, the Washington Post was the only media outlet to cover the story at all. Let's see, according to 2 articles in the Progressive Populist written by Margie Burns from 1993 to 2000, Bush served on the board of Securicom, which we just saw in a video, and has since been named StratusSec. The chairman of the board of StratusSec is Wirt D. Walker III, and he's a cousin of Marvin and George W. Bush. Securicom had contracts to provide security for Dulles International Airport, which is the airport from which the American Airlines Flight 77, which crashed into the Pentagon, originated, and the World Trade Center in New York. Securicom's backers included a number of Kuwaitis through a company called QAM, Kuwaiti American Corporation. StratusSec also has Saudi investors. Walker also serves as a managing director of QAM. So, the article also states, a Houston businessman who worked closely with the Bush family over the years confided that Marvin Bush and Wirt Walker appear to have taken over the Saudi real estate investment and aircraft brokerage business once run out of Texas by Houston-based James Bath in association with Salim bin Laden, the late brother of Osama bin Laden, and Khalid bin Mahfouz. The source, who has dealt personally with the Bush family in Houston for a number of years, said there should be skepticism when looking at bizarre deaths like that of Champagne. The source speculated that Champagne might have happened upon some sensitive information the Bush family wanted kept secret. Some observers wondered if Secret Service agents might have been able to assist Champagne when her Carpenter. According to the Secret Service in Washington, the agency only provides protection to presidential siblings if an executive order authorizes such action. A Secret Service spokesperson emphasized there is no current Secret Service protection for Marvin Bush. However, there remains a question why private security agents posted at the Bush compound could not have responded to Champagne's distress. There are also questions concerning Champagne's actual place of residence. According to the Post story, Bush told police that Champagne resided at their compound. However, a phone call to the directory-listed residence of Bertha Champagne in Franconia, Virginia, resulted in Mrs. Champagne's son answering the phone. He confirmed that his mother lived at the Franconia address, but he was clearly uncomfortable and nervous in talking to the media about the circumstances surrounding his mother's death. So that's the story. Question is, what did Bertha Champagne know that got her killed?